Hey everybody, welcome back to Culz Interviews. I think we have a really fun episode in store for you guys today, so I'm not going to make the intro too long, but just make sure to stay till the end so you guys know how to help the Indian Park School Association. Just make sure they can help preserve and keep doing the stuff they're doing at the Indian Park School, because it's a really awesome little schoolhouse that really gets the community together, and we definitely need more of that. And so without further ado, let's get started.
Pioneer woman in Castle Pines.
Okay.
And the community petitioned to have her buried here.
Right there.
And her name is Hope.
Okay.
Giving hope. But they reenacted a pioneer burial. And so she is the White Cross. And then there's rocks for the Brown family owned the sawmill across the street.
Okay.
So the Smith family donated the property, but the Brown family built the schoolhouse. And for a while there it was called the Brown Schoolhouse. And there are the Brown children, the babies that were not named, just have stone markers. And you can tell that they are truly markers because those stones aren't anywhere around here. So if we look at these stones, you're going to see that those are not the common stones that we find here. Right. So those are the Brown family babies that were not named. So this is a placard that shows. It's really hard to read when it's wet.
It's hard to see too.
Right. 1897. 1900. 1909. And then Mary was 1984. It's really... Tomorrow you'll probably get a better view or a picture of this.
I mean, I can get a pretty good video of it right now.
Let me step in your shot.
Oh no, you're good.
No, you're more than welcome to.
You're
the one here.
You're the one talking. We're just visiting.
And you're going to see this is the Smith family.
On all of these markers.
And all these, right, all across. And that's what the board will show, who's a rock, right? And those two are, my understanding, are
Sorry,
babies.
I stepped on your grave. I do apologize.
Yeah, which was unfortunately the sign of the time.
It was, right? I mean, you're talking early 1900s, I would guess, that those two. And our historical book inside the schoolhouse gives a little more accurate dates than what I am providing. But each of the stones, and again, you can tell we don't have stones, right?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Right.
I mean,
But they're
kind
definitely
of how family markers are.
Right.
they're definitely very much in line too. Like they're not just
Right.
show
They're
up
not
like
just
that.
random.
Yeah.
That's what makes it even more obvious, I think. So the deed was given to us. 1885 was the schoolhouse. I'm trying to figure out my line there. There we go. In 1901, the second deed was given to us. Now the measurements for the property in 1901 are rods and chains from a tree or a rock. Right? Well,
Tree and rock's still here.
don't know, right? It's somewhere way over there. Well, in 1911, they actually came in and reset the lines. They set a marker rather than the tree or the rock. And then they set lines. But most of these properties were huge acreage. So they didn't readjust the 2 acres for the schoolhouse and the cemetery. Then in 1985, that property was surveyed And that's when, lo and behold, that line was established. But at the time, Margie will call her, Grandma Dodd lived in the house and was like, of course the schoolhouse and the cemetery are protected.
As they should be, because cemeteries are
As
protected.
we want them to be.
As we
right?
want them to be. And so for the past 4 years, as I've been president, that is my direction, is to solve our property issue. And so I went to the county surveyor and said, you need to fix our lines. Our lines aren't around the schoolhouse. And he said, the last survey is the one they go by. And I said,
Should have been that one.
I said, the last survey, why isn't it the first survey? Right? I don't understand that. And the fence was put in the 1950s, which we thought
Was the property.
was our property line. It was 99, 98. The guys put in this retaining wall. And they actually put in foundation pieces because it was starting to, it was crumbling. So they did that work. But as you can see, the fence over here is what we always thought was our property line. And so that is what we are, that's what we had surveyed. And that's our contention, is that since the late 50s, or even if you go with, the schoolhouse was protected in 1974 by a group of women in the area who talked to the school board and had the schoolhouse and cemetery donated to the association. So they have been active, and we have been active as an association since 1974 with the schoolhouse.
And
Yes.
this is its original location, right?
This, and parts of it are original. I say parts. And you've been inside.
Yes.
But the schoolhouse ran as a schoolhouse from 1884 till 1959.
Okay.
That's why we have electricity. And so the desks are not original to the schoolhouse, but have been donated by people to help maintain the museum-like quality of it. But this schoolhouse has been used for Christmas bazaars, for Halloween parties, for picnics, a lot of, more recently, it was a funeral luncheon for a woman who passed away. And so the schoolhouse is really a community location. We've done, more recently, we've had tea parties every year. We do something called Christmas cheer every year, where we make 25, 30 Christmas cookie baskets and give them to people who could use a little Christmas cheer. So we have definitely got patterns. Our funding has been from a Valentine's dinner held at the Sprucewood, and our budget is usually about $2,000 a year. That covers our insurance, our electricity.
Yeah, because we saw these pop on.
Oh, yes. And all of our events are free because people fund that Valentine's dinner. So it wasn't until the last 3 years that we've had to do a big capital campaign to raise enough money to hire a lawyer and to have enough money to negotiate for the half acre. Because that's what it is. It's a half acre that's in contention.
Which really isn't much.
And it runs like kind of like right here.
If you look out the window, you're going to see the fence right here. It runs past the original outhouses and back to the cemetery.
Yeah, which ain't much.
It's weird because it doesn't angle the same as the
You ain't-
schoolhouse, but
You ain't
it's,
losing a
I didn't
lot.
even see the original outhouse.
oh, there's two of them, and they actually are the original outhouses.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
We can go out and see them if the
We
rain
will.
lets up a little bit.
Even if the rain's there, I'll go out there. I ain't afraid of the rain.
So as far as like, because they were talking a little bit about the floors, do you know like when these floors were put in? Or are these original or are they a little bit newer?
They are more likely the 70s
The 70s?
that they
Okay.
did the flooring. And Margie, who you met at
The fairgrounds.
fairgrounds, will tell you that all of the holes are filled with glitter and Christmas decorations
I do
and
see it if you look.
right,
It's sparkles.
paint.
Yeah.
Because this is a well-loved but well-used community center. COVID is when I got involved because the previous board still needed to meet and we're concerned, our bylaws say that we have to have events every year, and they were concerned during COVID of whether we are doing that. And so I helped them get set up on Zoom so they could have their meetings. During COVID, they worked with restaurants down in Sedalia to purchase lunches and deliver it to people who couldn't leave their homes. That's community.
Yeah, community helping each other.
Right, so that's what we did during COVID for events, and that's when I first got involved. My very first interaction was we were creating flyers for a chili cook-off, and I said, what's the address? And they said, it's 9 miles from Sedalia. And I said, that's really nice. What's the address? And nobody really remembered the address because I don't use that. And that's when I looked up on the county website and noticed that we were shifted. And so I went down and said, fix this. Move our lines. And that's when I found out that our lines did not, in fact, by the 1985 survey, go around the schoolhouse. And I was surprised because I said to the county clerk, I think is who I was talking to, I said, so they can put in a survey and you don't have to communicate to us that now our borders are not correct?
Seems like they should.
It seems like they should.
Agreed, because
But-
this is
I mean, any
Beyond
property, if
time.
you're taking property away, you think.
yeah.
Makes
There
you
has
wonder
to
what else
be
they can do.
communication.
Right? Well, he's saying 1985. I wasn't up here at that point. Margie was. But they didn't communicate that. And again, Grandma Dodd, as Margie calls her, I never did, said the schoolhouse and the cemetery will always be fine.
As it should be.
As it should be. But we have gotten funds from people who this was where they went to school, or this was their community, or are new to the community and feel saving this is important.
Yeah, saving
Some
it
true
versus.
folk.
Well, there's a story, and I forget which mine. I think it was it's not the Matchless mine. It's further west. But at the time, this guy just asked the property owner, like, can I go up there and just take some pictures? Because I love the history. And it was an older lady. She's like, yeah, go up there. And he called her and said, hey, I just got the property. I really love it. It's really beautiful. She's like, what would you do if you could buy it? And he's like, I can't afford it. Well, just tell me what you would do. And he's like, well, I'd preserve it and get it back so people can tour it and see our mining history in Colorado. And she's like, well, let me get back to you. And she did. And she sold it just for the land value instead of everything. Because she's like, yeah, I had a guy call and he just wanted to use it to tear it down and put a big old mansion. And she's like, I liked your answer better, so.
Respect.
The
True folk.
valuation, I was really happy. The person who did the valuation is from Franktown and also went to a small school in Franktown and appreciated what we have here. And 1974 to this day, the community has taken care of this schoolhouse. Margie and I are mowing and weed whacking the cemetery and the front lawn, right? For events, we're hosting events. We're trying to provide for our community and preserve. Margie's family went to school here. Her mom saved it, right? She's from here. So this is important to our entire community. But we're not a wealthy community. We're just a little, I would say a little small town.
Well, unfortunately, as most of our historical societies, none of us get paid off by big histories, so.
Right. You're in the wrong business. History is not a profitable business.
No, we do it for the love and.
Because they're trying to hide it most of the time.
Yeah, we're just trying to give it to the next generation. Because I know, like, growing up, that's what it's hard to go out here and stuff.
And you grew up in Douglas County?
Castle Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
Back when it was still kind of a small town.
Right.
What
high school?
It was still Douglas County.
So I ended up going to Castleview. I was the first class to go all 4 years.
I know that. What year did you graduate?
2010.
My oldest graduated in 2013.
Okay.
My youngest was 2016. But the Buckins, I don't know if you remember her, she was in theater, was in your class as well.
Okay.
So yes, we are Castleview. Those who actually in the 1950s, they of course could drive by then, and that's where the schoolhouse started closing because all of the high school kids left this schoolroom to go to Douglas County High School.
Okay. DC.
You were Douglas, right?
Yes,
I've
ma'am.
known him since 7th grade, but we've gone to different.
Oh, because you went to the middle school together.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Right. And so the closing of the school was also one of the reasons community is smaller now, because people will drive and people will go. So in the 1970s, they had weddings and they had picnics and they had Halloween parties and all kinds of activities because we were a community that stayed up here. Now, when we talk about community, I have to broaden my definition of community in order to support this schoolhouse because people are all driving and they're going places and their kids are all in activities down in town, as I'm sure both of you were, right? So our community started getting less and less, very many older community members, but we don't have a lot of influx of young families that this is part of their history. And so I'm working to try to have activities that will broaden our sense of community, that we're part of Douglas County. We are trying to get the Douglas County Historic designation, but because of our property line issues, they will not make us a Douglas County Historical property until we get that solved.
I very much feel for that because when we found Joe Antrim's grave, we want to get it marked, and it's in the Melvin Lewis Pioneer Cemetery, which is in the middle of a shopping complex. And
But
so
they want to just tear it down.
Yeah, which the landowners and the shopping owners want to tear down. I don't know what they want to put because there's stuff that's empty, but we talked to the Cherry Creek Valley Historical Society. And like, yeah, we don't care. We want to put up a new sign. I was like, oh, we can help. Maybe get that put up as well. But yeah, and then you have to get okay, and like they're like, oh, we want to move the cemetery. I was like, why?
You can't.
Right.
What good things have happened for moving cemeteries? Let's look at history with that.
Right, Parker has been going through the same things because we applied for a county historic grant to help us with our purchasing of the property, and
No, you can keep talking.
And many, the schoolhouses, there are two of them in Parker, there's one in Franktown, and they're all applying for assistance. There is a schoolhouse that a whole subdivision built around and left the little tiny space, and that was part of the agreement to be able to build all of the apartments, is to have this little park space that has a little log house on it in Parker. And
There's one out in Parker we've been to, and it has like a little cemetery right next to it.
So there's a lot of little places and people who love their little place history that are fighting to save their little bit of history, just as we are. And so we went and put in our plea, as did 10 other small organizations, to help get assistance from the county, from the taxes and parks taxes. It's been 2 years and we haven't received any. So again, that was my push to the community. We're not getting outside help. We're gonna have to
Do this inside.
get this
yeah.
right, do this ourselves. So the Sprucewood Bar, the last 2 Valentine's dinners, they've purchased everything. They've hired the staff. They've donated 100% of the Valentine's dinner funds to help us raise enough money to preserve our little piece of history.
Yeah,
Respect.
which is amazing. Like,
No.
it's good to see like communities come together, and then coming in here is just really amazing. It's almost reminiscent this second time we've been in now.
Right.
But every time I've come in, it brings me back to when we're in Lincoln, New Mexico, and some of their old buildings, and just walking in, and it just takes you back to the time,
Right.
which is super cool. And like, so to try to visualize, what would the like age range of the kids that
Kindergarten to seniors
Okay.
would have been, but again, in the 40s, I think Margie said, in the 40s and 50s, the older kids started driving down to Douglas County and not stay up here. And you can see pictures, teachers, students, our history. We have our historian put together a couple of books that are very interesting and show you how we grew as a organization. And the one book is about Hope and the internment of her bones from Castle Pines to our cemetery. And so definitely take some time to look at that. Those are the original chalkboards. They had to take them down to do some construction, and they're so heavy and very delicate, so we haven't yet put those up.
And those would have been right here.
That board, yes, across there.
Okay.
So your chairs probably would have faced
That way.
in that direction. And these are typical of the chairs. But what they would have done at the time is they would have had 2x4s or 1x2s nailed to the floor, and then you can see there's holes. The seats would have been nailed
No.
because you're being very delicate on that seat, which is good because that thing will tip right over.
Oh, I know.
So
I'm
the
good at
chairs
weight
would have faced
distribution.
that way, and the teacher would have been up front.
Now, is that the front entrance there? Because I know we
No, this is the front entrance.
Okay.
And the coat room would have been added in the 1920s,
Okay.
which is nice. And originally there was a horse line that you could tie up to
Oh, outside.
outside. And then 2 years ago, the flagpole rotted out and fell. And so we contracted with a wood company in Bailey to hand hewn a pine. It had to be a pine, and we sealed it and installed a new flag out front 2 years ago. We had the Boy Scouts come and do a flag raising ceremony, and Father Theron, a minister, came and did a blessing and sang the national anthem. And we had a nice little flag raising ceremony to add something that would have been typical of the time. But they buried it in concrete so it will last a little bit longer.
So, yeah, more secure.
Right. And then somebody in the community donated the flag.
Okay. And like, what about these books? Are these original here, or are they?
No, Sedalia Elementary was getting rid of a lot of their books, and somebody went and collected books from Sedalia Elementary and put them here. So they would have been, they potentially 60s, 70s, 80s books, but those were added.
Okay.
Those were added.
But it still helps with the
It still
overall
helps with
vibe,
the historic preservation and the fact that it came from our
The
community.
local school. Yeah.
Right. Margie's like, I'm sure somewhere in here is my name on a card in one of these books. Because she went to Sedalia Elementary.
Okay.
Nice.
What about all the stuff in this cabinet?
So they had in 2012 a melodrama in the backstage and had somebody wrote the melodrama and everyone in the community came and participated, and so Bulldog Saves the Day was the name of the melodrama, and we have a capture of that. And then encyclopedias, 4th of July things, it's just, now it became a clutter, but it's just artifacts, right? A piece of the slate that broke off.
Okay.
That's what this is, so it fits on right there. I have no idea what this is, but it's something original from
Somewhere
this area, yes, I have no idea.
Oh, that's cool. And then like this looks to be a class of.
So, right, this would have been, if we have these matched up, and for a while we did, and then I'm not sure if we do, but we have Valentine's Day 1944, and some pictures. We have, what's that?
Back row. So.
It may go to this picture. What year does it, 1956? Ooh, sorry.
You good?
Oh, you're good.
This was Mrs. Whitby. This was either Halloween or a dress-up day party. Which this year, 1898 or 1899, which would have been
That picture.
this picture. So,
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
we have
that's
history.
the one right. And what about the piano? Just
It's a player piano, someone donated it, it actually works.
Okay.
We have a bunch of scrolls over there,
Oh yeah, you can tell by the
and
kickstand.
Wow. So this is like the one we saw in Roswell, where it goes. And,
yes, it plays the scroll.
so-
And I am
I
not
have one at
skilled
my
to
house.
load it.
No, I saw one in
I know how
actually we were in
to.
Roswell, and I was like, I don't know how to do that.
And it plugs in over here.
I do. I know how to load
If you want to play it.
No, we're fine. We won't.
Okay.
And so what about these? Where did these ones come from? Did they come from Sedalia Elementary or here?
They would have been donated
Okay.
as part of the schoolhouse.
But I mean, obviously very similar to what would have
This would have been, yes, these would have been the typical desks.
What about this long one back there?
Somebody donated that bench, and again, it's in the right style, but I do not believe that it was part of the schoolhouse.
Okay.
We had to drill it down because it was just so tipsy. Yeah. So they would have done the same thing and drilled down the feet.
That's cool. And then of course we have.
This is not the original wood stove, but you can see we have the original chimney. And they would have heated it with a belly stove. And the students were responsible for bringing in wood or coal, depending on the type of the stove that was at the time, to heat the schoolhouse. But you think of how small this building really is, it would not have taken a lot to keep this heated. And the teachers in the 1800s, early 1900s, would have lived with someone up here, their family, and then come over to the schoolhouse to teach the kids. So that's traditional. This is truly a traditional pioneer schoolhouse in that it did operate in the same way all throughout the United States.
Yeah.
The one-room schoolhouses did.
Or for anyone like watching us because of our film stuff, kind of like Little House on the Prairie.
Right. It would have, yes. And then Laura became the teacher, right? In her own little one-room schoolhouse. I loved those books. I fancied myself as Laura Ingalls Wilder, growing up in a small town in northern Michigan where we had more cows than people. So coming up here, we moved up here in 1991, and it still was very community, very small back then. And we haven't really grown to be more than that. And that's, everybody up here is happy about that.
A blessing, yeah.
Right?
Because I watched Castle Rock get too big, and I
Right?
like it, but don't
All
like
of
it.
those apartment buildings on both sides of the street, it just was never that way.
See, Castle Rock, my thing with it is I'm fine with it growing, but it's just, they're not planning it out right. And it's just it's too much, and there's no ways for it to traverse. And you could still build up and maybe look at more. My biggest thing is they didn't rebuild the courthouse, which, why they didn't do that?
Because it's a historic building.
Yep.
That's why.
The fact that a girl lit it on fire too, I was
Yeah. Yep. We are lucky. Our original 1884 deed is still down there. And I was able to look that up to take pictures of that. And our 1901 deed is still down in Castle Rock, which is amazing because a lot of that got burned, but ours didn't. And so that helps us in our
Defense.
that we have been around. And according to our lawyer, you have to be in a place for 18 years. And I said, well, 140 should qualify as that.
Seems like it's
Facts.
100 and some over that.
Yeah.
Right, we're a little bit
well past that.
But it is up to the neighbors and their
No.
in their fight. That's what's costing us. It is the fight. Because the courtroom has to decide, a judge has to decide that property is ours. Unless somebody would donate it that way.
150 years proves that.
And that's where it's easier to just raise the funds to purchase, because it'd be cheaper in the long run.
We certainly
be.
hope.
Right.
It should be. It should be a lot cheaper, and we should be able to do it. But then we have to file the new deed. We have to take that property off of their deed. But that's what we want, and we've been working through for the last 4 years, is how do we get this to happen? And again, it's going to be with people like you, who are part of our community.
And people like we know out there that want to preserve history.
And so our website, www.ipsha.org, has a donate now button. We got ipsha.org. Holy smokes. I don't know how that happened. You think about that in websites, she's like, IPSHA is available. I was like, buy it, please. So ipsha.org is our website, and we have a donate now. And we're hoping to add $10,000 to what we have saved and been donated, so that we can make sure we can get through the legal process. And I know that if we get to that point and we are shy some money, we can put out a call and ask for
do
more.
like a GoFundMe or something.
Yeah, those are risky.
They do
Yes.
some stuff. They're risky, but like there are a lot of people that want to preserve some stuff. So
Right. So that's our sign. That was on Flag Day, our Flag Day.
As someone that's working on a couple books, have you guys thought about putting a book together of the history of the school?
The Brown family, Dave Brown, who it's his family from across the street. You can see, I don't know if you can see their house through the woods, but it is literally
Right
in
across.
the field. is putting together a book.
Okay.
And so we have a history in order to apply for the Douglas County designation. So our historian, Mary O'Pry, has a huge book of all of our history. When did we last paint the building? She would be able to tell you when the rock wall went up.
When the windows
had to get replaced because they were cracking. They were old and dry. And so they replaced the windows. But our history is till 1959. So having electricity is part of our history. Having these windows is part of our history. We are not trying to preserve it to 1884. We're trying to preserve it as it was in 1974 when it was purchased by the school district. Mm-hmm. So the funny thing about the school district, they sold it to the organization, but there's a clause in that it says it can never be sold to somebody who is going to do anything with it. It has to be preserved as a nonprofit organization, or it goes back to the school district. They were thoughtful in 1974.
They were, which contests with a lot of things.
In there because
that
you
contests
can't have
with a
anyone
lot.
coming in here and wanting to like make an apartment or something.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Nope.
So
Which you see. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of. We do a lot of travels, and out in New Mexico, we're just in Puerto de Luna, which is super cool. It's where actually Billy the Kid had his final Christmas dinner, and so we kind of got to walk where the store was, but because there's no preservation in that area, it's houses and kind of cluttering and hoarding in a way, I would say. And it's sad because some of the walls are collapsing. It's just, oh man, if we could just raise the money to preserve this stuff.
right. There are so many places. Every time we travel in Colorado, we're looking for one-room schoolhouses. Mm-hmm. And so many of them I see that are right beside a big house that was built beside it, and it's now part of their property. My mother in northern Michigan attended a one-room schoolhouse. And so every time I go back, I drive by the little red schoolhouse. And it's on somebody's property, but the community is preserving it and saving it. But that means on that property, somebody valued what they had.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the one-room schoolhouses, I always think of the one by South Elementary too.
Yep.
Where they moved in, and it's right next to the South School there.
Mm.
Yep.
Which is, I don't know. I guess people don't want to preserve it, even though it's always the talk. You see it all over the place.
They don't understand. They don't understand the impact that it had on those before what we know now.
I think it's just ego.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think we are blessed in this small community that we had a group of women who
had the
foresight to say, hey, we need a little community center.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have running water. That stops a lot of big events or anything actually happening here. But we have a little wash tank that we fill up and we use for our events. And we have the porta potty that is now aerated. So it's enough for our community and our events. If we did something bigger, we would have to change that. But for the water, we A, can't afford it, but B, to try to maintain in a cold climate water.
It gets expensive.
Right, we're you have to heat it then, and you have to do a lot, so
there's a lot more to
and water rights anyways, my grandparents owned well, and water rights are...
Right, so we're not considering that at all. What we would do, so if we made more money and we, by some means, were able to purchase that half acre, some of the things that we want to do is actually pour a slab to put the outhouse on. So it's not in a weird place, right? It's leveling out that road to the cemetery so that you can get back there. We want to add, we have plans to add a wheelchair entrance to the back, but that's $5,000. So that's way more money than just maintaining it. It is trying to improve. Margie would like to put up something that has historical information. So we lock up the schoolhouse, right? But you could come here and you could see, and you could look in the windows and have more history communicated. But again, building something like that and keeping it maintained, it takes funds. So right now, we use it for events. So tomorrow you're going to be here for rain gazing.
Rain gazing.
Yep.
Now, for anyone wondering why it's called rain gazing, what's the story behind that?
So we've been doing stargazing. I started stargazing. We each had to pick our own event to plan. So I picked stargazing because what a beautiful place we have with
Agreed.
No pollution, yeah.
right. And so we make hamburgers and hot dogs. I bake a Texas sheet cake, and the band comes in and plays. And we've always ended it in rain and haven't seen no stars. So the joke is that we're really having rain gazing tomorrow night. But on Facebook, I call it stargazing because nobody wants to come up to an event called rain gazing.
Right.
I mean, I would just because it's unique and different, and it's just like, rain gazing sounds very interesting. So let's.
Right.
Outside of like the
different breed.
stargazing and obviously the mountain folk festival, what are some other upcoming ones that you guys are?
Well, we close down the schoolhouse in October, so we'll have a cleanup party in October, or have our final October meeting. Then we'll close it up until spring. And then in spring we have had a tea party, and we invite, the last couple years we've invited Linda Womack, who is an award-winning author, a history author. Her family was part of Cripple Creek.
Oh, wow.
And so she does women's history books and Native American history books. And so she's come up and done a reading and sold her books for our tea party. And so next year we've had Dave Brown come in and talk. And so we want to find people who have local history that just want to share that at our tea party. So we do that. There have been chili cook-offs in the past. There have been art shows up here, painting. We've had paint and sips in this room. So there's a lot of events that we could do or can do, but right now my focus 100% has been on the preservation side. So we do 3 events, then we do cookie cheer in December, we do the Valentine's dinner in February, and those are both held at the Sprucewood, and then we open it again every summer for events. And people can have their own events. So we've had people come in, as I said, and had a luncheon after a funeral. We've had picnics, family picnics in the back. The folk festival has been in the back until where I said we will not be the ones to go on the contested property. We will be up front and we will manage everything up here until we get that resolved. But the folk festival, music festivals, picnics, we had a 70s, back to the 70s picnic, and we wore 70s. My son had a silk shirt and polyester pants that probably went up to here on him. Right.
I mean, I could cut these
Yeah.
off, get the sideburns now.
Or just do this and do
Some
the
mutton
lamb
chops.
chops.
Mutton chops.
What I do, because when we go back to Roswell, we're going to do the costume contest. So
Oh.
I was going to be Quint from Jaws.
Oh, yes, the lamb chops,
But the
yeah.
reason this is growing on, because when we go down to Lincoln, I'm going to do Doc Hollidays and stuff.
Oh.
So I was like, I got to grow this out. I was like, I can't just have this right now. I got to
Right. But the Sedalia community has a parade in March for St. Patrick's Day, and we represent the schoolhouse at that. We have been at the fairgrounds the past few years and represent history at the fairgrounds. So we're active, but again, I'm taking our community from this little spot and trying to grow that community. Sedalia is doing something for state of Colorado's 100-year, is it 100? No, 150 years.
Yeah, it's 100.
Sorry, yes, I'm sorry. 150 years at state of Colorado. And so Margie is participating in that group to come up with ideas for broadening history. One of her ideas was a driving tour. So you would hit Bud's in Sedalia, and you would see the museum that is new in Sedalia, and then you would come up here and you would visit our schoolhouse. You would go to Sprucewood and visit the Sprucewood. Then you would be down at the river and look at the old railroad tracks that ran along the river. And then if you wanted to, you go to Deckers and then you come back up. And so we're looking at how do you get a car ride path that people would be interested in making stops. So those are our ideas.
They're good ideas. I do.
Absolutely. I would do it too.
Awesome. Well, we hope you are like everyone else and start being happy about preserving and learning about history in our communities.
It's very important what we can, preserve it, because some of the documents are so fragile if we don't take the time to look over them now. And especially the buildings as we go out, like there's certain ones we found where it's just the base of the building. And if you didn't know it was there, you think it's just a pile of rocks.
Correct.
Think of all the history, and just like when you stand on the location, like when you're in here, and you just think about all the people that would have come through, and it's a cool feeling, I think.
Right. I think that's like Chaco Canyon and all of the New Mexico and Arizona, even in Colorado, our history of Native Americans, right? And you look at those and they have waited to excavate some of the humps until we get better technology and better tools to do that. Instead, they're x-raying those. I find that very, very interesting that little pile of rocks was something, and they can figure that out based on the artifacts they dig up and find. And shards of jars, the Anasazi jars, Anasazi corn. I don't know, I find that little pieces of corn. We went to an early man dig in Southern California, and they had rocks. And they're like, these were tools. And I'm looking at them going, they look like rocks to me.
Like I know when I've been to some places, they're like, all right, we're going to grind the corn, it's just like a flat rock.
Right, right. And they call that, is it a metate or
It's been a few years. Yeah.
Right.
And you put it in the bowl and you're like.
Right, and you grind it. So people lost their teeth early because they're eating rocks and corn, to be honest. But all of that, my family has been very interested in history. So of course we're drawn to this building.
As you should.
Yeah. No,
as you should.
When we walked in.
Oh, I was saying as you should.
Pointing
at
you were pointing at me because I was like in my face.
Yeah, I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at you, Keegan.
I was like, Sam, that's what I talk about. That's what they all said.
I saw that your photos, they were great photos. You guys did a really nice job. I haven't seen the video yet.
I thought it turned out good. They definitely really settled into it once we got in here.
Oh, yeah.
And we just started, and we tried to talk, it's just like a conversation, And yeah, it was fun, and they remember story. It was great. They were fun to talk with.
What a smart group of kids, right? I could not do it. I only had 2 children, and I could not do what they're doing. Homeschooling all of them, sustenance farming.
Plus farming and you want to take pictures.
Right. I love their family.
Yeah, no, they were fun. We talked to him a little bit during the folk festival.
Oh.
And that's why I was like, can we review your band? And we were like, yeah, we were going to come up here, and obviously we talked to you. And I think they shouted you out at one point during the interview, because did you give them an instrument?
Oh, the cello.
Yes.
Cello.
Jacob played the cello at Sedalia Elementary, the middle school, and high school. And when he moved to California, he's in film. He graduated from film school, my youngest, and he also wants to be in film and industry. And so he moved to California, and that cello was sitting in his room, and they wanted a cello, and I was like, I have one. I have a cello, and I also gave them a trumpet, although that doesn't fit into their string band. Trumpet doesn't, but...
It could, in the right way.
And it takes somebody to teach them or to learn how to play the trumpet.
I was still trying to get him to bring up his friend with the didgeridoo, but
Nice.
That's not very string, but like that is an amazing sound.
Yeah, because they were like, yeah, what instruments do you know? Do you guys want to play it on? I just kind of jokingly was like, the didgeridoo, because our buddy's from Australia. And they were like, we're actually friends with somebody that plays the didgeridoo. And I was like, what?
It's very talented. I've tried. It's not easy to learn.
Yeah.
Right? I can
It
I can
sounds
make
so
noise
cool.
out of one. That's all I can do. We were up a lake up by 70, and I don't remember the name of it, but at the time, those big Swiss horns, somebody has those, and they were playing those. It was really cool. I didn't realize that was Colorado history, but I guess it is as well.
There was, what's his face? He, I don't know if it was Georgetown. I don't think it was, but it's somewhere up in the mountains. There was a guy, he would mine, and I think his girlfriend had died from a broken heart. And so every night he was lonely, he would just go up and play above the town.
Oh.
And so when he passed away, they just buried him right where he would play.
Aww.
And so you can go up there and visit it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, like, to preserve that. Have you heard any fun stories within the school?
Well, Dave Brown will tell of the story of, I think he was called Black Jack Diamond, or Jack Diamond, who was, during the Prohibition, was an outlaw in Chicago, and Sedalia was his place to get away during hot times in Chicago, maybe? And so they would play, yes. So they would play cards down at Roundup Ranch or at Sprucewood, and this was his hangout. So when you talk about other hangouts in New Mexico, this was his hangout. And so he has stories, Dave Brown has stories, because he studied the history of the community, where my whole knowledge is only of the schoolhouse, and it's only what I've been told or what I've been reading in the books. So that I thought was very interesting, that in our little neck of the woods was a Chicago hangout.
A little mobster, right?
Yes.
Well, what about outside of like mobsters? What wildlife do we have running around up here that you might see?
Oh, you're going to see, be very careful, to be honest, on your way home, because there are elk herds, not one or two, herds of elk, and you will often see in the fields beside us and across from us 60, 70 elk. And the deer, right now all the deer are in velvet, and for some reason the grass is always greener right beside the road. For some reason the skunks are crossing the roads these days. I find that, I was driving home last night and I'm like, I've got to look up why there are 3 dead skunks on the road this week. Where are they going? What are they doing that they are on the road? Bear. We have bears. We have mountain lions just a couple miles from here. And mountain lions are actually down in the fields outside of Sedalia as well, but you rarely see those. We've seen them at night coming home. It's snowy, and then all of a sudden a big cat covered in snow crosses the road. To me, that is an amazing sight to see.
It's like winning the lottery. I mean, as long as we've been in Colorado, I think I've seen a mountain lion once, and it was from a distance. Like if you didn't know it was there.
Oh, yeah, we've
I
seen
saw
them up
the
close.
wings.
Yeah, my grandparents, because they live in Pappycan, they've been there
Oh.
since late or early 80s, one time. But yeah, the bears would come on. My daughter, one day, she like, oh, there's the bear out there, and just got to see the, the mom and the cub walking around, and hummingbirds, and
My hummingbird feeder and my bird feeders are off my deck so that the bears do not take those down. Just 6 miles from here is the South Platte River, which is gold water fishing. Tons of people drive past here to go down to the river. Devil's Head is just less than a mile, and you take a left and you drive down Rampart Range and you're going to be at Devil's Head, which is, have you hiked Devil's Head yet?
no.
Yep,
You,
I have.
it is the fire tower for Pike National Forest,
Okay.
and it has history, and people who are part of this community, Bill was the lookout man for years. There's a beer with Devil's Head beer, and his silhouette is on the beer can, which is a local one. And that's just up the road. And so cars come by here all the time and don't often notice the little schoolhouse until I say, oh, this is where we are. And they're like, I've been by there hundreds of times. Because they're going to Devil's Head, or they're going to the river, or the road from Sedalia that goes to Deckers, that goes to Woodland Park, and then back down to Colorado Springs. It's a lovely drive. We will take we call it the back roads,
The scenic way.
Back road.
right? You take the back road and you go right at the river, and you're gonna end up in Pine. You could take Foxton Road to Conifer, and that's all, as a crow flies, it's all very close. But the roads make you go around everything.
Right. And they make you go through the big cities. That's why on our road trips we try to go through some of the smaller towns. Down to, when we go through Roswell, we go down to like Fort Sumner and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We buy there in about a month.
Lincoln.
Well, we're,
That's an extended route, but sometimes
Yeah,
we
we
pass
have.
through there.
yeah, because they're doing a whole convention in Lincoln in September. They're helping with, they're putting up the big old stone marker at the Ellis House to just put the history of it and stuff on
Oh, really cool.
there. Yeah.
That's very nice of you guys to support and be part of not just your history and your community, but broadening that into the mountains and to other states. And I'll say you're our kind of people.
That's the one thing I always say is good about the internet is it's helped us connect with more people that are like-minded, that just want to go out there and share their history. And sometimes it's hard with history because people get very territorial of their stuff.
Right.
And you want to just talk about it like, nope, this is mine, don't worry about it.
Well, when I came in as president and I said, we need to broaden our community, that was not perceived positively.
No.
And I said, I don't know how to get the money for the schoolhouse that we need if we do not grow who is part of the schoolhouse. Trying to define community to a bunch of people who, the community is because you live right here and you live right there. And we just don't have that kind of group that's going to come here for a picnic. The events, you asked about events, the problem is I will have 12 people at an event and they're free and we provide everything and we pay for an author to come up and I get 12 people to sit in these seats and I don't know how to get history if I don't broaden it and include others. You guys
It'd
have
still
to be in
be
the same
community,
thing,
but you
right?
can bring in outside sources.
Well, you maybe bring in like an author you say that maybe is not tied to the area, But they could bring in people that don't know that area.
Right.
And that's why then they come
Yeah.
in, oh, I didn't know, this is also fascinating.
Right. Well, yeah, people don't want to make the 9-mile drive up from Sedalia to the schoolhouse.
It ain't that bad.
And then I was like,
And it's a
I
nice
drive down there
drive.
all the time.
Yeah, we passed through the rocks and we saw deer last
Turkeys.
week. Oh, this week, yeah, we had to stop because the mom turkey had kind of come out and saw the
yes.
chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always on the lookout because, like I said, my grandparents are in Heavy Canyon, and their turkey group is massive. Like there was 3 moms and like 40 chicks. My daughter, well, she would try to name each one.
Yes. Yeah, we have so many turkey up here, and they will maintain the road, meaning if they're on the road, you will wait for me. Turkeys are like grumpy old men in their attitude. We talked about the deer. A lot of the bucks are definitely teenage boys, right? The cat is a cat. There's nothing to compare a cat to because a cat is a cat.
Yeah.
Right?
Cats on the
Cats
road
are-
too.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, the turkeys will sit in the road up until it's hunting season, and then they're nowhere to be found.
Around Thanksgiving, they just disappear. It's wild.
It's nice, you passed it, it's right up here, the entrance to the National Forest.
Oh,
Search
yeah.
and rescue come up here and train up here because they end up going to Rampart Range and finding lost motorcyclists, lost hikers. A couple weeks ago, they had 3 different events. Somebody was at the Indian Creek campground and did not come back from hiking. And then the next day was another event, and the next day another event. And so that's a volunteer organization out of Douglas County Sheriff's Department. And those people donate so much time in training and rescuing in this area. And then we have the volunteer firefighters. We unfortunately are between campgrounds, and seasonally we will get a forest fire. If you notice, all of our pictures are copies because all of our pictures were sent down to the library during the Hayman fire. The library stored them. So now they're at the library.
Which is good.
It is, except all of our history, we thought we were helping to save them, and
Right.
now they're all at the library. So I can go down there between 9 and 5 with an appointment to
Right.
see our history. But we were trying to protect it because the Hayman fire I was evacuated for 12 days during the Hayman fire. It was right over here.
Yep.
And we get fires frequently, and we have volunteer firefighters that are part of this community. You passed 2 fire stations on your way up, and then there's the 3rd one down in Sedalia. And talk about another group of individuals who donate so much time and energy to protect us.
Right. Yeah, because I'm sure they come through and help with the trees and stuff.
They can watch out for fires
Mhm.
and keep track of fires, right?
Yeah, which is the Hammond fire.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Because
That one was wild.
yeah, I think that was a lady that started that one
Yes.
intentionally.
Yes. And the Hayman fire kind of made a heart shape, and our house is like in the V of the heart.
Ooh.
So we were the first ones out and the last ones in, and we went to the schoolhouse. I think it was I think it was Douglas County, where we would get updates on the fire. I took enough clothes for 3 days. Who's going to be gone for more than 3 days? And we were out for 12. And my boys were 1st grade and preschool at the time. And when you get told you need to, first you're on pre-evacuation and you're like, yeah, it probably won't go to this. Then you get the sheriff's department knocking on your door saying you have to evacuate. It still took us an hour, and we had already started packing to get out, and it still took us an hour. So I feel heartful for those people whose house is burning down because you can't get anything out. We were able to get enough out. My pictures on my wall do not look the same because I took all of the pictures off the wall, and then when I came back, had to do the puzzle of trying to put the pictures back in there. They are not in the right spot. I have 2 frames that 20 years later still touch each other. That's, first world issues. Thank you both for coming out.
Oh, no, thank you
I
for
really
inviting us
appreciate your
up
time. I know it's Friday night and I'm keeping you all night and you both have families to go to, so.
This is what we do on Friday. So our Friday night is going out and filming.
Yeah,
So-
this is a usual Friday.
Yeah, this is what we look forward to every Friday. We go out and film something. Last Friday we were here. Next Friday I feel like we have something. I don't know.
Well, bring your families with you tomorrow night. It's only a couple hours. We'll have hot dogs and burgers and chips. And if you're here early enough, you get a piece of chocolate cake.
We'll try to get here as we have a movie we got to see to review at 6 p.m. or no 4 p.m. So we should be done about 6, and it's just in Highlands Ranch.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, we should get here plenty of time.
Yeah.
The Airs will be playing. It will be lovely. And they're supposed to, according to their recent post, they're supposed to play 2 new songs tomorrow night.
That's what they told us.
Oh.
They kind of explained a few of the songs on the interview, so it was cool to see that. They were talking about some other songs they wanted to bring out, but they weren't quite, they didn't have it all
Not
the way
ready yet.
Right. Did you participate in the Douglas County Fair Parade? Did I see that on your
Yes,
Facebook?
yes, we were on the Eagles, the fraternal order of the
Oh,
Eagles.
yes.
My daughter got to be the Eagle. She was all
Oh,
happy.
very nice.
Yeah, because they, Matt, who's the president down there, asked if she would like to do that because he knew she was Slimer in the parade and just did really well. And I was like, yeah, she'd love that. So,
Well, you'll have to come to the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Sedalia. It keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. O'Brien's Cafe. Have you
Yep.
been to O'Brien's Cafe?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
breakfast is usually when I go.
Yes, they're also a huge supporter of the schoolhouse. And
I mean, that speaks volumes of like 2 places supporting it.
Yeah, well, it's good. I like it.
we're a good,
It's a community thing.
right. They
It's
are
small
so,
town,
Donna
good
is
small
so
town
good,
people.
George is so good, Raquel is so good at understanding how difficult it is to keep up and have events and have people want to attend and have something interesting to share. Because you've been to the schoolhouse now twice, why you need to go again? I've only seen that twice, right? So,
You see new things each time.
well,
There's
and-
things you missed the first time and you'll see it.
Or you learn
Maybe
something
other
new.
times
Like,
after
I
that.
never noticed that when I was there.
Right.
Look.
right, I'm so thankful for the communities and the businesses, I would say. I'm so thankful for the businesses that support the schoolhouse. Donna has donated cinnamon rolls every year for the auction at Valentine's. Last year she donated white chocolate dipped Oreo cookies. I do recommend those.
Yeah, no,
Right.
Sounds
they're
good.
solid.
Their cinnamon rolls are really good, and at the flag ceremony, she donated the cinnamon rolls and the coffee that we served that morning. That's a partnership that I feel like I'm just the taker and receiver of that. But she has been so awesome, as well as the Sprucer. So I cannot thank them enough for all of their support to keep us going.
No, it's great. And we gotta work together to preserve everything.
Absolutely.
No, and I'm excited for it. Wow, that should be a fun time.
Well, thank you.
I'm
Yay!
excited too. I told couple people at work, and I was just like, hey, there's an event going on.
Yeah, and I've been trying to share the post on our pages, so.
Oh, and that's why I accepted you. I was like, okay, we're friends now. I accept these posts. I try to make sure I reply as both the schoolhouse and as me so that we can get more. Because we mainly advertise on Facebook because of who our community is. And I was like, I don't know that I want to do Instagram posts and oh my goodness, what you can do YouTube, right?
It's a lot of work.
TikTok.
Right?
Twitter,
and how do you get, I don't know how you guys are growing your community, but for something like this, oh look, we got 8 likes.
I think it's just word of mouth. I mean, we started out and we struggled for a while, and we were at 300 and we couldn't really get over that hump. And we're like, well, you know, we're still having fun, it don't matter. And we went down to Roswell for the UFO festival,
Right.
which is kind of fun. But they do Galacticon at the same time, which is kind of like a Comic-Con, pop culture con. And we were walking around, and we met a guy named John LeMay, who's an author. He wrote almost a book a month last year. And I don't know how he did it. But they're all really good. He works for what are the historical societies? Southwestern or Southeastern New Mexico Historical Society down there. And so we met him, we started working with him a little bit on some videos, and we met more of the Billy the Kid people, because we're like, hey, we're working on some videos on Billy. Like, we had one of our buddies who's an actor play Billy for us. And yeah, it just grows naturally. And I think people just like authenticity. And so that's always what we try to do. Share what we're interested in, because I figure if it's something I would go watch on YouTube, maybe someone else will go watch.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of usually how it goes.
So I just was reading today at the fort, they're going to have, they're doing their historical series again this year. Have you guys done any of those?
No,
Not yet.
So they're lecture series and dinner. So tickets are, to me, a little pricey at $70, but you get the full Buffalo dinner with a lecture of Doc Holliday, I think, is one of the stories this year, and they do Native American stories. They do the Fort La Junta.
Okay.
What's the big fort in La Junta?
Benton Fort.
Bent Fort. So this, right, part of the Fort restaurant and their history is part of the trail that went down to Bent's Fort. And so they do a lot of the history between that restaurant and Bent's Fort. And menus, sometimes they will have menus. But look up their historical presentations. Okay. They have professors, they have people from the Natural History Museum, some really, I think, very interesting speakers.
Yeah,
if only we served buffalo prime rib here, we might get more people coming to the schoolhouse.
Yeah, that'd be tricky though.
Yeah.
All right, so for anyone watching or listening to this on YouTube, where can they find more about you to help support the school and all the cool things you guys are doing?
Well, go to our website, which is down here, www.ipsha.org, which stands for the Indian Park Schoolhouse Association. And you can find about our events and how to help support us.
Awesome.